the storms of change, they fan the flames, scattering ashes to the wind. Every soul contains a whisper of light, flaming faintly as it dwindles from sight. No escape, no greater fate to be made. In the end, the chains of time will not break. Colors weave into a spire of flame. Distant sparks call to a path still unnamed. Bear this torch against the cold of the night. Search your soul and reawaken the undying light.
For nearly 2,000 years, her name has been collapsed into a single image. A fallen woman redeemed, a sinner forgiven, a symbol of shame cleansed by proximity to holiness. But that image does not originate in the earliest Christian traditions. It emerges later, after theology hardens into doctrine, and doctrine hardens into power. And when power rewrites memory, it rarely destroys what it fears. It relabels it. Tonight, we are not here for scandal. We are not here for sensationalism. We are here because Mary Magdalene is highly misunderstood, not by accident, but by design. In this video, we're going to dive deep and explore the mysteries around the story of Mary Magdalene and her diminished role in modern Christianity. Mary Magdalene does not appear diminished when we strip away these layers. She appears initiated. Stick around to the end of the video to find out why. Mary emerges as a figure who embodies both the human and the divine, someone who has navigated inner trials and emerged able to perceive hidden truths. Her story is not one of failure, but of transcendence, and the fact that her legacy was altered is precisely what makes her so fascinating, and why we need to return to the original currents of her teachings. Ahoy there, my fellow nautical truth seekers. This is your favorite esoteric captain, Aries Ezra. You have just boarded the noble and glorious ship, Nautical Awakenings. On this ship, we don't simply skim the surface of history. We sail straight into the mysterious depths of it. We explore waters that institutions have spent centuries trying to map, fence off, and control, and these waters turn mighty turbulent, fast. If you're ready to embark upon our voyage into the mysteries of Mary Magdalene and the Gnostic wisdom hidden from conventional religious teachings, then strap up your gear and put on your thinking caps. It's time to take action. Walk the plank and subscribe to the Nautical Awakenings crew. Be sure to ring the ship's bell on your way over, and you'll never miss another underway with us. Toss over the mooring lines and share this video with your fellow spiritual swashbucklers. Lastly, drop anchor in the comments to join the discussion and scuttlebutt. Avast, ye mateys! The ship's whistle has blown, and the ship is now underway. It's time to get nautical. In the earliest expressions of Christianity, authority was not centralized. There were no councils yet defining belief, no empire enforcing interpretation. There were mystics, teachers, visionaries, and communities, bound together not by obedience, but by shared inner experience. Mary Magdalene belongs to this world, not as an exception, but as evidence of what that world allowed. Her proximity to Jesus is not presented as accidental, emotional, or secondary. In the earliest texts outside the canon, she is portrayed as a bearer of understanding, someone capable of receiving and articulating teachings that others struggle to comprehend. She is a figure of authority through knowledge, not through office or appointment. This alone tells us something crucial. Mary was not dangerous because she challenged doctrine. She was dangerous because she predated it. When later institutions could not remove her from the story without fracturing it, they reinterpreted her instead. A teacher became a moral lesson. A bearer of wisdom became a symbol of shame. This was not theology, it was strategy. The environment Mary inhabited reminds us that early Christianity was a living, breathing movement. Mystics could rise, speak, and be heard. Authority came from experience, not hierarchy, and Mary was recognized as a natural vessel for insight. Her role was not granted. It was earned through inner transformation, a fact that would eventually unsettle those trying to impose order from above. One of the most persistent misconceptions attached to Mary Magdalene is the claim that 7 demons were cast out of her. Read literally, this has been used to portray her as unstable, possessed, or morally compromised. But ancient spiritual language is symbolic, and numbers matter. 7 does not signify corruption. 7 signifies completion. In Gnostic and mystery traditions, the soul's journey is described as a passage through 7 layers. 7 spheres, 7 veils, 7 bindings of consciousness tied to fear, illusion, and false identity. To pass through all 7 is not to be broken, it is to be prepared. Mary Magdalene is not someone rescued from darkness by an external savior. She is someone who has walked through the full arc of inner transformation. Each demon represents a threshold crossed, not an invading force, but an attachment released. She is not healed into wisdom, she is forged by it. She became the standard, which the institutions did not like. This explains why Mary is calm when others are afraid, grounded when others scatter. Her stability is not emotional, it is existential. She has faced every inner trial necessary to awaken fully. Her journey through the 7 demons mirrors the stages of the soul's ascent described in the Gnostic texts. Confrontation with attachment, detachment from ego, integration of light and shadow, and finally, the recognition of divine presence in all things. You do not pass through 7 thresholds unchanged. You emerge able to see reality for what it truly is. This clarity becomes unmistakable in the Gospel of Mary, after the departure of Jesus. The disciples are afraid. The world feels hostile. Uncertain, they ask who will guide them now. Mary speaks. She does not command. She does not claim rank. She reminds them of what was already given, and Peter resists her. This moment is not simply interpersonal conflict, it is symbolic. Peter represents structure, continuity, and outer authority, the impulse to stabilize revelation into form. Mary represents vision, memory, and inner knowing, truth that does not require scaffolding. This is not a conflict between man and woman, it is a collision between 2 spiritual orientations, one that builds institutions and prisons, the other which nourishes souls and awakens individuals. Peter's discomfort arises because Mary's authority bypasses mediation entirely. If wisdom can arise directly, then hierarchy becomes symbolic rather than real. Mary does not argue her legitimacy. She remembers, and memory does not negotiate. Her ability to speak with authority demonstrates the radical nature of early Gnostic communities. Knowledge was experiential, not inherited. Mary's voice embodies a tradition in which insight was shared directly from consciousness to consciousness, rather than filtered through intermediaries. In resisting her, Peter unwittingly highlights the tension between codified authority and direct gnosis, a tension that would shape Christianity for centuries. Nowhere is Mary's role more revealing than in the resurrection narrative. In every canonical gospel, Mary Magdalene is the first to encounter the risen Christ. This detail survives centuries of editing because removing it would fracture the story beyond repair, yet its meaning is often softened, sentimentalized, reduced to grief or devotion. But resurrection, in esoteric Christianity, is not spectacle. It is a recognition of inner awakening and gnosis. The others who are uninitiated are taught to search for a body. Mary and her teachings to initiates are taught to perceive spiritual presence. She does not cling because she does not mistake form for essence. She does not collapse because she has already confronted impermanence. Resurrection is not the return of what was lost. It is the realization that nothing essential was ever absent. This is why Mary sees first, not as reward, but as resonance of truth from a higher source. Her perception reflects a profound principle in Gnostic teaching. The world of appearances is transient, but the realm of truth is accessible to those who have cultivated inner vision. Mary's recognition is a symbolic demonstration of how consciousness itself transforms perception. Where others see loss, she sees continuity. Where others see death, she sees the eternal movement of life. In Gnostic thought, salvation is not achieved through belief. It is achieved through anamnesis, remembering what the soul already knows beneath all of the fear, conditioning, and imposed identity since childhood. Mary Magdalene embodies this remembering. She does not construct doctrine, nor does she need to recall it from a book written by man. She recalls essence, the primordial wisdom given from the true source of creation, the Father, Sophia, the immutable forces. After Jesus' departure, she does not impose belief, she awakens recognition. She functions less like a missionary and more like a mirror, reflecting truth back to those capable of seeing it. This is why her role becomes increasingly difficult to preserve within rigid systems. Memory cannot be controlled the way text can. It resurfaces unexpectedly. It bypasses authority. It ignites recognition without explanation. Mary carries a wisdom that survives not because it is defended, but because it is remembered. Her memory extends beyond personal recollection. She also embodies the collective memory. In this sense, Mary is a living archive of the unmediated truth of Christ's teaching, a symbol of the mind that refuses to let sacred knowledge be buried. She is not just remembering for herself, she is restoring the memory of the souls for all who are willing to perceive the teachings. In the Gospel of Philip, Mary is described as the companion of Jesus, a term implying shared journey and understanding, not scandal. The intimacy described is initiatory, not erotic, breath to breath, presence to presence. Here we encounter the language of the bridal chamber. This is not literal marriage. It is symbolic union, the Alpha and Omega. The divine masculine and the divine feminine coming together as separate halves to complete the whole, true initiation of matter and spirit. It can otherwise be called reconciliation of inner division. The moment where wisdom is no longer abstract and embodiment is no longer unconscious, knowing and being become one movement. Mary's association with this mystery is deeply telling. She is not fragmented. She does not oscillate between extremes. She can receive insight without turning it into domination. This is why the Holy Grail symbolism gathers around her story. The Holy Grail is not an object hidden in history. It is a state of consciousness, to receive without possessing, to know without controlling. Mary Magdalene is, in essence, the living Grail, a vessel capable of holding insight without contamination. Her presence teaches that the sacred is not acquired, but through becoming that very essence, that wholeness is a process, not an inheritance. And that receptivity is a form of mastery in itself. As Christianity moved closer to an empire, this kind of spirituality became impossible to contain. Mystery is dangerous. Inner authority cannot be standardized. Wisdom that arises from within cannot be ruled. So Mary was repackaged, repurposed, rebranded. She was made to absorb what the institutions considered unholy and unclean. Wisdom became sin. Initiation became blasphemy. Gnosis became heresy. From this, early Christianity was born. Mary's image is not simply destroyed. It is flattened, compressed from her original meaning and orientation in biblical stories. But symbols do not disappear when suppressed. They go underground and they will eventually return. Her story, recast and suppressed, continues to surface in mystical traditions, secret societies, and even popular culture. This underground transmission preserves her essence, ensuring that her gnosis is not lost, only hidden, just awaiting the seeker who will recognize it anew. The misunderstanding of Mary Magdalene is not merely a historical or biblical issue. It is, of course, another recurring story across time. Every age wrestles with the same tension, between outer authority and inner knowing, between inherited belief and lived understanding. Mary Magdalene remains unsettling because she quietly suggests that awakening does not require permission, only honesty, and honesty has always been the most dangerous idea to all religious institutions. To reclaim Mary Magdalene is not to rewrite Christianity, it is to remember what her story originally meant. A path of inner knowing, a wisdom that does not shout, a truth that cannot be owned. And perhaps that is why she remains the most misunderstood figure in Christianity, because understanding her would mean understanding ourselves. It would mean integrating all aspects of ourselves, our shadow, our opposite gender, our misconceptions and false beliefs converging with our truths. Spiritual alignment and Gnostic understanding is more dangerous to hierarchical societies and religious institutions than a bomb is to a rural village. You cannot control those who are spiritually free, those who are free from the entrapment of mind control. That is their worst fear. But this becomes our greatest weapon. If this excursion into the mysteries of Mary Magdalene sparked your curiosity for adventure and truth, drop anchor in the comments section down below. Come say hi and let me know your thoughts on the video. Let me know how I'm doing. Do your favorite esoteric captain a favor, and please take the short time to like the video, share it around, and subscribe to this channel. This channel won't succeed without the help of my fellow salty spittoons, and I am truly appreciative for everyone's support. Thank you. If you desire to continue sailing beyond the surface waters of life, be sure to check out the Captain's stash of videos and plunder the golden odysseys of videos waiting for you there. Until next time, keep your compass pointed inward, your sails open out, and your mind's eye wide awake towards the horizon. Keep asking, keep searching, and always keep aligned. This is your decorated captain, Aries Ezra, and I'm signing off from the bridge aboard Nautical Awakenings. I'll catch you all out on the open waters. Peace and love, my spiritual shipmates.